it's Julie Reid here again from Portfolio Oomph. We're here talking about our transferable and employability skills and the kinds of skills that you'll learn or you'll use when you're in a creative education, art college, or studying higher in art and design. And what we wanted to talk about today is something that we talk about with our students on a regular basis. I would say most sessions, pretty much every session, and that is tolerating uncertainty. Something that we all feel probably quite uncomfortable with, something that we don't, a kind of feeling that we don't like to have. And if you can think about your art project at school, you've had your brief, you're thinking about your ideas, the chances are that you kind of want to get to that destination of, what's it going to be, how's it going to look, what's it going to be made of. You try and get to the point of knowing what the outcome is going to be before you've got there, partly because it is really uncertain how you're going to get to that outcome. And a really good quote that I like to say to students is this one. Let me just find it. Writing a novel, we can liken it to creating art, is like driving a car at night. You can see only as far as your headlights, but you can make the whole trip that way. And that's by E.L. Doctorow. So yeah, to try and explain that a little bit further is when you're creating your sketchbook work, when you're working on your ideas, you don't need to be able, if you say, imagine you're driving down to London from wherever, somewhere in Britain, you don't need to be able to see your destination. You don't need to be able to see London. You need to be able to see as far as your headlights can show you for you to be safe on the road and to see, the next 100 metres, the next 100 metres, the next 100 metres, and eventually you'll get there. And it's the same with your artwork. You're creating a small amount of work, you're exploring your ideas, you're doing your research. You don't need to know what the final outcome is going to be. But that actually is a really uncomfortable place to be, and I find it difficult. I think most artists find that quite difficult. And it can raise your anxiety levels, it can make you feel really quite uncomfortable. But if you can learn to sort of relax about that, we've talked a little bit about having fun, playing with ideas. If you can learn to relax with that, then it will be a whole lot easier. We've also talked about, if you're under stress, if you're feeling stressed and tense, that your creativity isn't its best. And the similar in this kind of situation, tolerating uncertainty it's quite uncomfortable. It can make you feel quite stressed, but the more we do it, the more we practice it, the more we use our sketchbooks, the more we put ourselves in that position, the better and the easier it will be. That's the kind of direct relationship in a creative education, being creative and tolerating uncertainty. But the value of that in employment, I think, is vast, particularly these days, because jobs in this market are not jobs for life. We, as creative people, need to tolerate a certain amount of uncertainty because we may not know where the next contract's coming from. We're possibly going to be working self-employed. We might be working what they call a portfolio employment, where they do a few hours for one client, a few hours for another client. They've got a part-time contract with another client. They have a portfolio of jobs that they work on at the same time. This kind of working is quite uncertain. And if you can try to tolerate that uncertainty, if you can build your skills to resist that kind of really uncomfortable feeling that we get when things aren't certain, life isn't certain these days, then that's another really valuable skill, not only in the creative process, but in the bigger, in the bigger world, in the employability world. Easier said than done, I have to say. Anyway, okay, and we'll catch you again tomorrow. Thanks for listening. Bye.